Golf Club, I'm Mikey Burrows. Alongside me, as ever, is Chris Iwelumo. We are back for a brand new season, and this week we're joined by a goalkeeper, joint 16th on the all-time appearance list, 382 appearances from 1962 to 1978. The man affectionately known as Lofty. Welcome to the Old Golf Club, Phil Parkes.
Thank you very much.
You have an incredible record at this football club, which we will get to in a minute, but there is only one place to start with you, and it is the fact that you are a Wolves legend, but you were born in West Brom.
Yeah, I don't tell everybody that. You know, when I go in the pubs in Wolverhampton, I keep it very quiet.
What happened? How did you end up at Wolves?
I was playing for West Bromwich schoolboys and Staffordshire schoolboys, and got invited to West Brom one Monday night for training. I went, and there was like 30 kids and one guy looking after 30 kids, and it wasn't very well organised. And then I got invited to Wolves, and he came to Wolves, and there was like 30 kids, and there was like 6 or 7 coaches, but all the coaches were like old Wolves legends. Jack Down and Joe Garner, Bill Shorthouse, Billy Crook, who played in the 1960 Cup final and everything. Yeah. And it was so different. It was so well organised and everything. And when I went home, my dad was West Brom through and through. We used to go and watch him every Saturday. And he said, "What was it like?" And I said, "Oh, it was great." And I told him. He said, "Well, you stay there," and that was it.
So take us through that. Obviously, in 1962, you came to Wolves as a club. The debut never came till 66, 67.
Yeah.
So that period of time, through that process, what made you into the man that you were when you got that debut?
I think, like I said, I had a job for 2 years. They found me a job for two years before, and then they had 6 teams of a Saturday, and everybody used to play of a Saturday. And I started playing in the Wolverhampton Amateur League, then worked my way up into the Worcester combination, and worked my way up, into the third team. You got into the third team at like 15 or 16 in the West Midland League, playing against really, really tough old pros.
Yeah. And
you soon learn to look after yourself. And then I was fortunate. I signed pro when I was 18. A Canadian lad called Les Wilson and myself were the first 2 guys to sign for the club after Stan Cullish got the sack. I came down on this. I came with my dad on the Sunday. They said they were going to sign me pro, and my dad went in and spoke to Mr. Cullish, and came out and said, he's going to sign you pro, but I think he's losing it a little bit. And then he got the sack a couple of days later, so I thought, well, that's it, but they still signed me pro.
Yeah.
And it just went on from there, to be fair.
Because the team at that point, I mean, we think about Wolves in that era, kind of late 50s into the early 60s, as being one of incredible success. Actually, by the time you get to the mid-60s, you got relegated and kind of had to build the team back up.
They got relegated before I got in the team, to be honest. I just thought I'd tell you that.
Yeah, you're not taking responsibility.
No. It was 67. I made my debut. That was when we were in Division 2 as it was then, and we got promotion. Coventry won the league, and we came second, and got promotion. Which was I played one game when Fred Davis was injured, and then I played the last 13 games, of that season, and we got promotion, which was brilliant,
And it was Ronnie Allen who was in charge
Ronnie
then.
Allen, yeah. Ronnie Allen was, when you talk about people being before the time, Ronnie Allen was one of them people. Training was so enjoyable. It was everything was short and sharp and everything, and it was really, really good. I used to come back in the afternoon. He used to bring me back in the afternoon. We used to go on the pitch, and he used to get brand new balls out just to shoot balls at me. And that to me that was brilliant. And so we didn't have goalkeeping coaches in them days.
I was just going to ask.
We never had a goalkeeping coach. We trained with everybody else, and then they just used to whack balls at you after training.
So he took it upon himself in that to work on certain goalkeeping aspects, certain scenarios that would happen in games.
Yeah.
But then seeing the normal sessions when you're with the rest of the players, would he incorporate certain things for goalkeepers then? It's because he had to manage everything, didn't he?
No, it would just lay a ball into the centre forward and lay it off and shoot.
Yeah.
Not from different angles, all from straight down the middle.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, to be honest, it wasn't until I left Wolves and went to Vancouver Whitecaps, and a guy called Tony Waiters, who'd played for England in goal. I learnt more about goalkeeping in 2 years with Tony than I'd learnt in 16, 17 years there, because it was totally different. I mean, it was like Bill McGarry would come in. He said, we played Leicester at home and we were losing 1-0 at half time, but he came in and I can't say what he said, and he absolutely slaughtered me. And you know, if you made a mistake, and I said, Gaffer, what are you talking about? And Frank Monroe says to him, Gaffer, it weren't the big man's fault, it was mine. So now he's stuck, because he ain't going to back down. So he went, no, it ain't. It's just because I said so.
Yeah.
So what you need, oh, fair enough. No good arguing, because you couldn't argue with him. Yeah. He was always right. And I don't think that would happen today. You know, you've got goalkeeping coaches that he would be the man that said you were wrong, probably not the manager.
Yeah, because that's what the goalkeeping coach is there to do, to look at the goalkeeper, what they do, the scenarios, the instants, the movements, the techniques. That's what it's brought in. But you had to kind of, like you said, you've learned in 2 years in Vancouver more than you've learned in the years that came previous. So you just had to kind of just get on with it, make the saves.
Yeah.
But did you take it upon yourself to like look at that the role of a goalkeeper, or did you just have to just wing it?
Because there was no goalkeeping coaches anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody had one. You just did what everybody else did, and then just did the shooting practice after.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, and it ain't like today, you know, where they train with the balls what they play with. I mean, we used to train with anything you could get. Yeah. You know, you probably not so much you, but you know, the ball that was played with on the first team on a Saturday would be passed down to the reserve team, and then that would be passed down to the third team and passed down.
Because you played in an era without goalkeeper gloves.
Yeah, we didn't have goalkeeping gloves. You had to make your own. You know, if it was dry, we played with our bare hands. I mean, you watch the old film. My grandkids said to me, "What goalie gloves did you wear, Grandad?" I said, "We didn't wear goalie gloves. Everybody wears goalie gloves." I had to find a picture out the loft to show them playing without goalie gloves. And they still didn't believe me. Like, you know.
Hang on, did you make your own pair of goalie gloves?
Yeah, I used to go into Beatties, which is now Debenhams, isn't it, and buy a pair of old a gentleman's string gloves. With a woolen inset, and you used to pull the woolen inset out and cut it off, and you just play with a string. They were like string gloves, and you had to strap them to your wrist, else they fell off. And then Peter Bonetti from Chelsea came out with he made the ones, and everybody used to. They were like green cotton, and they were the same. If they got wet, you had to strap them to your wrist. the first pair of gloves what they're wearing now was when I went to Vancouver Whitecaps in '78. I got a pair of Adidas ones, and they were brilliant, to be fair. You know, it's a kind of foam rubber, isn't it? And it was different class, to be fair. And especially like over there when you play on AstroTurf, when people put oil, they oil all the legs so they don't get burns, and all the grease comes off on the ball. If you were playing with your bare hands, you were struggling.
I can just imagine, like your hands must have been kind of so worn to having the ball smack into them all the time. My granddad used to play a lot of cricket, and he was a wicket keeper, and his hands, like the skin on his palms was just so tough.
Yeah, it was just something that you had to get used to, wasn't it? To be fair, my hands were quite, you know, like I said, I worked in a steelwork construction factory for 2 years, so your hands get a bit tough anyway.
You were tough, weren't you? You were tough. When there's a famous game which comes actually not that long into your Wolves career, 1967. You know what I'm going to ask about?
Yeah.
West Bromwich Albion. An awful lot happened in that game, didn't it, Phil?
Yeah, I mean, me being from West Brom, the first fixture I looked for was a West Brom fixture, and we played Fulham away on the Saturday, and we won 2-1. and we played West Brom on the Tuesday night. There was 53,000. It was completely sold out, and I probably had the best and worst local derby. Saved a penalty, scored an own goal, and got sent off.
The Holy Trinity.
Go on, take us through it. What you remember?
Tony Brown's hit one from about 25 yards, and I've tipped it onto the post. He's come back and hit me on the head and went in. And then I saved a penalty off Tony Brown. I think it was the first one he'd missed. And then we were winning 3-2. There were 2 minutes left. And a lad called Clive Clark, he lived, because I was still living in West Brom at the time. He lived two streets across from me, little chippy like. And he's gone down the line and he's crossed it in and he's coming straight into my hands. And as I'm going to catch it, Tony Brown's dived full length and punched it. When he went by me, he was like Superman. And everybody in the ground except the referee has seen it. 53,000 people except the referee has seen it, and he's given a goal. And we were on the halfway line and we were all arguing, and they said, come through the crowd. I can't say, well, Jeff Astle. He went, it's a goal, you bastard, it's a goal, you bastard. I said, well, get that, you bastard. And smacked him one, to be honest.
Well, Julian Keir got in touch and said when Bomber Brown punched the ball into the net, how hard did he hit him before getting sent off? Dave Harrison, talking about this one as well, said that when Waggy went in goal, he had to put your jersey on, which was about 15 sizes too big, sleeves hanging over the end of his arms. And Martin Gennard said he was there. He was 8 years old, and he said you didn't even wait for the ref to take your name. You just walked away.
Yeah, well, you got it, haven't you?
You knew you were going to get sent off.
Yeah. If you're going to hit somebody, you might as well make it a good one. If you're going to get sent off for something, get sent off for a good one, aren't you?
So no regrets?
No, none at all, no.
I used to work with Bomber, covering the football when I covered all the teams. And it was around about the time when Thierry Henry handled one in for France against Ireland. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And there was a big conversation on air on the Saturday about it. And the question got posed to all the pundits. So there was a pundit for Wolves and all round and stuff. I think Robbie Dennison was doing it for us at the time. And they kind of said, would you ever handle the ball into the goal? And all the others have said, no, I would never do it, And it gets to Bomber, and there's a pause, and Bomber just went, would I do it? I did it, and I'd do it again.
That was 30 years. It took him 30 years to admit it. He denied it up to 30 years later. Yeah, I did it, yeah.
Because you always seem to be involved in all these kind of things. Because, when I was doing the research on you, Phil, you saved a penalty on your debut.
Yeah.
You had this game against Albion like a year later when, as you say, you save a penalty, score an own goal, get sent off. You end up saving 2 penalties in the UEFA Cup semi-final. What is it about you and just being involved in these big moments?
I think when I made my debut in 1967, it was against Preston, and a centre forward called Alec Dawson, well known, he played for Manchester United and everything, he's a big bruiser. His nose was touching his ear hole and everything, And as we're going out at 10-3, Ron Flower says to me, whatever you do, don't get involved with Alec because he'll kill you. My confidence had just gone from my head now into my feet. And for 20 minutes, he just battered me. You could do that in them days,
Yeah.
And Ron saying, don't get involved, he'll kill you. I said, Ron, I'm nearly dead. So after about 25 minutes, the ball's coming off, come up, knees up and everything, and I flattened him. And he went, there's no need to be like that, young man, he said. My career's nearly over. I said, well, I tell you what, if you come again, it will be. I never seen him again.
No, fair enough.
You know what I mean?
Well, you can handle yourself. I think these moments have kind of followed you around. I think there's instances, like you've told me a story off air about having the shop not allowing you to buy the gloves. What happened with Capello? Tell us a little bit more about these moments.
Well, we went to play in East Germany, Karl Zeiss Jena in the UEFA Cup, and it was snowing really bad, and like I said, we didn't have gloves, and I'm walking past the sports shop, and I seen these goalie gloves in the window. I thought, I'll go and buy them. I went in and asked to buy them. They wouldn't sell them to me. They knew who I was. I said, we haven't got none. I said, well, you've got a pair in the window, not for sale. They just wouldn't sell them to me. It was crazy. And then the Capello thing, we've got through to it was the quarterfinals, And we're playing away in Juventus, and nobody basically gave us a chance.
Yeah.
And it's 1-1 with about 10 minutes to go, and Jerry Taylor's passed the ball back. And in them days, he'd just come out and pick you up, and he just run through, and he spit straight in my face, a big green one straight down my cheek. Well, what do? I said, Wolverhampton, you're dead. He never came.
He never came.
He never came.
But it's funny enough, you were saying about John Charles. He said that as soon as that game came, he's come in after the match and said, "That's you, lads. You've won this tie, haven't you?"
Yeah, Ronnie, Bill McGarry had a great brainwave. He took John Charles as an ambassador to our club. I mean, he was an absolute legend at Juventus. And I was saying to you before that the morning of the game it had rained and we couldn't train on the pitch, and we had to wait for Juventus to finish training. And there must have been 2,000 people watching him train. And as the Duke and John Charles are walking past, they all started clapping and cheering. And the Duke waved, and John Charles says to him, "It's me, you prat." And Duke went, "Sorry, John." And you know, he took us shopping, like, and we were going in shops, and we wasn't paying because he was just an absolute legend. And this is gospel truth. The night of the game, we go to the dressing room. And there's an old boy on the door, must have been doing the door like for 40, 50 years. And he seen John Charles and he went, "Oh, King John," and he got down and kissed his shoes. Now that is legend.
Yeah.
That is legend. Proper legend, isn't it?
Yeah. Should that happen more? Do you want people to do that
No,
when you
no,
turn up
no,
on holiday?
no.
Is that what you're saying?
No. And then after the game, when we got a draw, he came in and he said, "You've won now." He said, "You'll win the second game." I said, "How'd you work that out, big man?" He said, "Half of them won't come." He said, "He spit at you. He definitely won't come, and he won't come, and he won't." And to be fair, he was right. The only one that came was Helmut Haller, who played for Germany in the '66 World Cup final, and they came in and we beat them 2-1. And he, you know, what he said was right. And I'll tell you the story about Helmut Haller. Danny Egan, who played for it at the time, was, you know, a bit of a boy around town and everything. Like 2:00 in the morning, Sammy Chung's got a phone call off their manager. "I'm a player missing." And it was Helmut Haller. He was in the nightclub with Danny. In the Cleveland Court with Danny Egan.
Brilliant.
With that run to the UEFA Cup final, obviously it kind of jogged a lot of people's memories with Wolves being back in Europe now. Was that kind of the most fun period?
Oh yeah, I mean it was great. You know, I mean, you know, traveling all over Europe and everything. Like, you know, people say, like, you know, you listen to some of the supporters. I go to the pubs in town and the supporters, "Oh, you know, we shouldn't be in this. You know, it's this and this." But we're talking now about super fit athletes, and traveling is so much easier now than what it was when we played. And we love being in Europe, and that's what the game's all about, isn't it? Finishing as high as you can and qualifying for Europe. I mean, in fact, if you look at Wolves, if they'd have beat Cardiff twice and Huddersfield twice, they'd have probably been in the Champions League. If you look at it that way, and that would have been even better, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, we're not getting carried away, but yeah, it would have been.
You know, I mean, we're talking now about super fit athletes, and you know, Chris, like, playing's better than training anyway.
Of course it is. Yeah.
And the travelling is so much easier. I mean, when we had a manager, a trainer, Sammy Chung, and Toby Anderson, one physio. I mean, they've basically got now physios for every player.
Yeah.
They got a physio each.
Well, speaking of just playing, you hold the record, and you still hold the record, because your name is in my matchday notes every single week. The section that I've got on the club records for the most consecutive appearances.
Yeah.
How? Because when you look at the numbers that you got to, it don't quite make any sense how you just never injured.
No, I was. But you had to play. If Bill McGarry said you were playing, you were playing. I played with a broken finger. I played with a broken toe. You just used to stick injections in. And like I said, we didn't wear gloves anyway. And I played against Chelsea with a temperature of 104. Because he said I was in bed Thursday and Friday with a flu. I'd gone in Saturday morning. And the doc said, big man, there's no way you'd be able to play today. He said, your temperature's 104. I says, Doc, well, you tell him, because I ain't telling him. So this is true. We knocked on the door, and a voice from inside, come in, what do you want? What do you want? What do you two want? He said, Mr. McGarry, he said, there's no way the big man can play today. Why not? But not in them words. And he said, well, he's got a temperature of 104. He said, so what? He says, I'm the manager, you're the doctor. I picked the team, and you're playing. He said, you'll be all right, won't you? What do you? I went, well, I'll have to be, won't I? Yeah. And as it was, we won the game quite easy, and I hardly had anything to do.
But 171.
So I'm just saying, I'm looking at that with the success that you had as well, the games that you won, some big moments as well. There must be regrets. You never got to play at Wembley again. An injury that did keep you out.
Yeah, I played every game up to the semi. We beat Norwich on the Saturday. We played on the Saturday because we were both out the FA Cup, because the League Cup was always midweek, and we drew one each away on the Wednesday at Norwich, and we came back and played it on the Saturday, and won 1-0. And then I broke my ankle in training on the Monday, and it was just one of them things. Well, if anything good about it was that it was an injury where I knew I wasn't going to play. It wasn't one where your hamstring or something and you're open. I just knew that I wasn't going to play. Yeah. So I think if it's an injury like that where you're still thinking I might make it, and then at the death, you really. I mean, I was disappointed anyway, but not so much as I would have been if it had been down to the last minute. Yeah. I just knew when I did it that I wasn't going to play.
Because it's fascinating that, again, we were talking a little bit earlier about kind of social media and the way things change in football and stuff, that injuries nowadays, everyone knows lots of details. Whereas for you, didn't Bill McGarry make you play in a game a week before? To try and fool people that you'd be fit.
Yeah, well, it was the week on the Wednesday, I think it was, before the game on the Saturday. He said to me, "How are you?" I said, "I'm struggling. I can hardly walk." I said, "Why?" He said, "I was hoping you could play in the reserve team game this afternoon." I said, "Are you joking?" He went, "Well, not really. No." He said, "I don't want anybody to know that you're not going to play. I don't want to put pressure on Gary Pearce." I said, "Well, if you want me to play, then I'll play." And they strapped me up, and my ankle was like that, like, you know what I mean. And as it was, we played Blackburn at Molyneux, like, and I hardly ever touched the ball, but it didn't do me any favours, like, you know what I mean. And the worst part about it was I don't think he really appreciated it what I did. That was the annoying thing about it, like.
Because it shows the sacrifice, I guess, that you were willing to make for the team.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was Wolves through and through. I'd been here since I was like 14 and a half or something like that. Like, I loved the club and obviously still do. And you do what you have to do, don't you? I think that would never happen today, would it? No. Well, you wouldn't be allowed to do that today. You wouldn't be allowed to do that today.
Because your numbers of 171 consecutive appearances, of which 127 were in the league, because I kept looking up this stat because Connor Cody got to 80, I think 70, it was, 79.
78.
79 in all competitions. Well, this is the thing, because technically the league record he could still go for, though it would obviously take an awful long more time now. Do you think anyone will ever get close enough?
The way the game is today, no. I really don't. They might do the league one, but I don't think they'll do the overall one.
You got to remember as well, you played through some probably injuries that players today wouldn't play through.
No, well, they wouldn't
even to get that record.
They wouldn't be allowed to, would they?
No.
Like in our, you know yourself, Chris, you probably played when you shouldn't have played. And I think most I can remember Dave Wagstaff. We were playing it on the Tuesday night, and he'd had a cast off at 12 o'clock on the Tuesday lunchtime. Had 2 cortisone injections and played on the night. Oh. That would never. And I think that's why a lot of the old players now some of them are really struggling because of the cortisone injections they had.
Yeah.
Now they just used to give them you for fun.
And you just played?
Yeah.
Just whatever?
Yeah.
Is that because of a fear of the managers, a fear of letting people down?
I think sometimes it was a fear of losing your place. But like Tommy Smith at Liverpool, Tommy was never going to basically lose his place, and he had probably more injections than anybody. You just did what you were told, basically. I mean, in our days, if it was like if the manager said jump, you said how high. You know, I read the papers now about coaches having the sack for being bullies and everything. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Bill McGarry would be in jail.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He would be in jail. Like you said, you know, if he said do something, you did it. You didn't argue.
Yeah. So what about now towards the end? You know, like how did the Vancouver thing come about? Because you went on loan first, didn't you?
Yeah, I went on loan in '76. I'd been injured and missed a few games at the end and went on loan in 1976 and really enjoyed it. And then the year later they signed Paul Bradshaw. '78 they signed Paul Bradshaw from Blackburn for 150,000, which, you know, was a great boy, to be fair. I'd played against him in the reserves one Tuesday night at Blackburn, and this big blonde kid came out and he was different class. Right. Different class. And I honestly think that if he'd have applied himself properly, could have played for England. I think he was that good, and I think he came here and got in with the wrong crowd, to be honest, and just fell by the wayside. I remember him coming to me the one time I was back. It was Jeff Palmer's testimonial, and he said, "I can't believe I'm not playing." John Burridge was playing, and I says, "I can." I said, because I'd trained with him a couple of times and watched him. I said, Budgie trains his socks off every day, and you just go through the motions, and that's why he's playing. I said, he hasn't got half of your ability. Yeah. But if you don't work and use your ability, then you're not gonna make it. Yeah. And I honestly think that he could have played for England.
That to me is a fascinating insight into your character. That it's about the hard work, that you recognise that above anything else. Ability is one thing, but ability without hard work is nothing.
No, you've got. It's like any job you do. If you don't work at it, you're going to fall by the wayside. You're not going to make it, are you? You know, I used to come back of a Thursday afternoon training. We used to go down to West Park with some of the young apprentices and train of a Thursday afternoon and I felt that if I didn't do that on a Thursday afternoon, I might struggle over Saturday. So that's how it was.
That's spot on.
Because your dedication to it, so you'd obviously had a little spell in America and you kind of come back and you're number 2 from this point on. And then you're negotiating to go back to America and they need you one last time.
Yeah, I left on the Friday. I was flying out to Vancouver on the Wednesday, and I was just leaving my house at 9 o'clock on Friday night to go for a drink with the lads, basically say goodbye and everything. And as I'm walking out the door, the phone went, and it was Sammy Chung. He said, "Big man, you might have to play tomorrow." I said, I've finished, I've left. He went, "No, your contract doesn't finish till Wednesday when you fly out." He said, Paul Bradshaw's sick. Gary Pearce, I know Gary was injured anyway. Bradshaw's sick. I need you to play. I said, "Well, I don't want to play." I said, "What if I get injured and I can't go to Vancouver?" And then he said, "I'm asking you as a friend." And I really like Sammy. I got on really well with Sammy. "I'm asking you as a friend." I can't tell you what I said to him. I'm going to tell you that. So then I had to phone the lads up and say, "Look, I can't come. I might be playing tomorrow," and everything. And I got to the ground at 9:30. He said, "You'll have to travel to London with us because I still don't know if he's going to play." 2:30 they told me I was playing, and as it was, it worked out for me. We won 2-1. It was a bottom of the table. It was a 6-pointer. We won 2-1. I got man of the match. So my last game was worked out great, to be fair.
Yeah.
So you started with a penalty save. You ended with a man of the match. There was so much in between. What a Wolves career.
Oh, it's been fantastic. You know, you look back, you look back, and you never change it for anything. You know, it's been wonderful.
There is much more that we will talk about on our podcast extra. It'll be available to download from all the usual places. Old Gold Club, powered by Blythe Group, this year with Phil Parks, Lofty, loads more to come. Thanks for watching.